Good morning, everybody. Just got off group coaching and we had a great conversation. And I kind of just wanted to continue the conversation here because I'm sure people had more questions, but we were only on there for an hour. So today we were talking about how you reestablish your identity. And what does that even mean? Well, let's take growing up in a dysfunctional home in general. We're going to use that because that's who my people are. We all grew up in some kind of crazy dysfunction, whether it was alcoholism, addiction, abuse, neglect, emotional abandonment, whatever it was. When you grew up in that household, you changed who you were. You changed what you wanted to say. You changed how you looked at the world. And you did it for a lot of different reasons. You might have done it because you were a peacemaker and you had to make everybody happy around you and you stopped thinking about what you wanted or what you cared about. You might have done it as a survival method. A lot of times I said and did things and became a person I didn't want to be because that's what I needed to do in order to survive. So no matter what role you took in this chaotic growing up, it may have changed the way you are now, but it's not changing who you are. It's just changing the way you act. So once we get out of that household or we get out of that environment and we realize, you know, wow, I want to be myself. I want to do things. I want to love myself again. I want to experience life like I know I was meant to do. Where do you start? I know so many people have said to me, Tammy, I don't even know who I am. I remember someone saying to me when I started working on boundaries, they said, Tammy, whatever your values are, whatever you stand for, those are the boundaries that you put in place. That's what you do. If you don't like people to be dishonest, then you stay away from dishonest people. And what I realized was I didn't know who I was. I was everything that everybody around me needed me to be, or I was everybody to everything buddy except for myself. So I really wasn't even sure about my boundaries or my morals or my wants, my needs, my desires. I didn't know any of that. So it takes some time and it takes some work. But today what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically break it down into 10 steps. Now, of course, each step could require weeks or months or years of delving into, but these are the 10 basic steps I'm going to go over today. And again, we talk about this today in my group coaching. I had tons and tons of questions come in. We're probably going to be talking about it all week in my group coaching. So if you ever feel like there's a topic that you really want to talk about, jump in there. Ask me how to get into the coaching. You can jump in at any time. It costs less than a cup of coffee a day. And we do some serious healing and some serious diving into the past. So 10 steps. The first step, just acknowledge your past. Understand that how you reacted or what you did when you were in that household does not define you. It's not you. You did it out of a survival mode, or you did it out of fear, or you did it out of just appeasement to make everybody around you happy. But it was a coping mechanism. And you need to understand that it does not define you. It's not who you are. And that anything that your brain is wired to believe, your brain can be wired to unbelieve or disbelieve. So you can definitely take back your identity. But just to understand that perfectionism, that caretaker, that peacemaker, whatever it was, whatever the role was, it's not you. It's just what you had to do to survive. Give yourself a permission to completely explore who you are. Start thinking about the expectations and demands of other people on you, and start seeing where that kind of fits into your values. Number two, reconnect with your emotions. A lot of times you didn't even know what your emotions were. You were told not to laugh. You were told not to cry. You were told not to be happy, sad, mad, angry, any of that. It really is stifled in you. And that's one of the hardest things as a child of a dysfunctional family, is that you're not allowed to express those emotions. So you need to start reconnecting with those emotions. When you feel them, name them, claim them, write them down, journal about them, talk to a therapist about them, whatever you need to do, but start connecting with them. And it's going to feel a little awkward at first. I'm not going to lie. I remember going to a therapist, and if you listen to my podcast, you probably heard me say this, but I went to a therapist and something pretty bad had happened that week. And she asked me how I felt about that. And I was like, I don't feel anything. I didn't feel happy, sad. I didn't really feel emotions because I had been so used to stifling them that I didn't feel safe feeling them. So start to reconnect with those emotions. Number 3, you need to identify and release the limiting beliefs that happen when you were becoming that person, or when you were starting to act as that person that is not you. So if you grew up in a dysfunctional household, you probably have some of those underlying beliefs like, I'm not good enough. I'm just not enough. I don't matter. I need to be perfect to be loved. Everything is judged on my actions, not just me. People don't love me for who I am. They love me for what I do. These are all the limiting beliefs that we acquire when we're growing up in that kind of world. And again, they can be undone. I've been working on NLP, which is neuro linguistic programming, for many, many years. It's a great process. There's many tricks that we can walk through that help you identify and release some of those limiting beliefs. I'd love to do that with you. There's also cognitive behavioral therapy. There's many different modalities that you can use to start identifying and releasing them. And that's what you want to do, because as soon as you release the limiting belief, you're going to be replacing it with a different belief. And the different belief is going to be empowering you, because it's going to be about who you are, who you truly, truly are. Number 4, set boundaries. So growing up in those dysfunctional households, sometimes there were super, super strict boundaries, and sometimes they were non-existent, or sometimes there were boundaries and they were 100% violated. I really didn't even understand boundaries. I didn't understand sexual boundaries, emotional boundaries, physical boundaries, time boundaries, religion boundaries. I didn't understand any of that because I had never been able to voice my opinion. I had never been able to say what I wanted. It was always what everybody else wanted me to do. So start to set those healthy boundaries in your relationships, with your family, with your children, with your spouses, with your coworkers, whatever it is. But those boundaries are going to define how you want to be treated. And as long as you don't let people cross those boundaries, and you put a stop to that, you're going to start to gain confidence. You're going to get your self-esteem back. You're just going to feel like a different person. Practice saying no. I remember I used to never, ever, ever, ever be able to say no, but I used to practice it. When people started telling me about boundaries, I would know that I was going to have a confrontation with somebody because I didn't agree with what they wanted to say, do, or be, or something. So I would literally stand there in the mirror and I would run through the conversation in my head, just practicing to say, no, that's not what I want, or no, that's not what I need. So practice saying no and start small. This is all in my course. This is all in my coaching. We can talk for weeks about boundaries, but start small. The next thing is just explore your passions, explore your interests. When you grow up in dysfunction, you're spending so much time taking care of everybody else and just keeping yourself safe that you lose that room for self-exploration. You don't know what you enjoy doing. Take time to do things that you think you might like, or you might be curious about. If all your friends used to go bowling on Saturday nights, but you couldn't go because you had to stay home and make sure that dad didn't get hurt by mom, go bowling. Hobbies, interests, things that you never knew. Try new experiences. Try taking a cooking class, whatever it is. But do some self-exploration and see what you like, because a lot of times you don't even know what you like. And you want to figure that out because you've got the rest of your life to enjoy doing the things you like. So figure it out. The next one is to rediscover your voice. So I didn't have a voice. I was pretty much let known, whether it was verbally or physically, that my opinions, my needs, my wants, my desires, my anything just didn't matter. So I stopped having a voice. I stopped telling people what I wanted. I did everything that they wanted to do and went along with everything else. And I never, never, never spoke up for myself. But start expressing your thoughts, start talking about your feelings, start having a voice. Start talking positively about who you are and what you want out of life. Daily affirmations. I know people go poo-poo on daily affirmations, but I tell you, if you speak life into yourself, you will eventually start to believe it, and you will start to live the person that you're speaking about. So you have to really get in that body, and you have to be that person that you want to be so that you can become that person. But daily affirmations are a very, very, very powerful tool. Number 7, cultivate self-compassion. Just let go of the shame and the guilt. And I know that's very much harder said than done, but practicing self-compassion on a daily basis by acknowledging what you need and treating yourself to something daily, whether it's just a love, a hug, a positive comment, write "I am beautiful" on your mirror, whatever it takes, but start being kind to yourself. Children of dysfunctional families carry a lot of guilt and a lot of shame. They've heard things all their life like, "I could have been this if you hadn't been born, and I wish you had never been born, and things could have been so much better if you weren't here, and because of you, blah, 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 because of you, this and that." And there's a lot of guilt and shame in that, which is completely unwarranted. But the bottom line is it's wrapped up in all these limiting beliefs. So when you're carrying that guilt and shame, you can't let go of that until you really start to truly care about yourself and love yourself and believe that you deserve the same self-compassion that you would give your friend or your child or your spouse. So just start being nice to yourself. Forgive yourself for mistakes when you make them, and definitely move forward. You can't go back and fix the things you did when you were in survival mode. You can't take them back. They're done. But recognize that it wasn't your fault. You were in survival mode. Forgive yourself and know that healing takes time. Healing and forgiving yourself takes a while. There were things I did when I was in survival mode and I'm not proud of, but I don't beat myself up about it anymore because it's done. It's gone. I've made amends with who I can make amends with, and I've forgiven myself, and I've become a better person. And I know that I will never do those things again. But love yourself. It's so important. Number 8 is just seeking support. Have a support system. That is why I started my group coaching program, so that people could jump on 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 times a week and just chat. We just chat. That's all we do. We talk about a topic and then we ask questions, and we're just there to support each other. Again, and under the price of a cup of coffee a day. So you can't beat that. So, but you need a support group. You could go to Al-Anon. You could go to Adult Children of Alcoholics. You could go to codependency support groups. There's so many different support groups that are out there. There's therapists, there's coaches, there's groups. But at the end of the day, you need to know that you're not alone. I know I have people come to me all the time and they say, "You wouldn't understand. My life was horrible," or "You wouldn't understand what I went through," or you don't get it." And I promise you, my friends, I would get it. And if I don't get it, somebody else in that group will get it. But the bottom line is when you're with a support system and when you're with people that have empathy and compassion for what you've been through, whether or not it's the exact same situation, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you know that people understand that you went through some stuff and you're getting better, and you're getting better every day, and they're there to support you. They're there to heal with you. They're there to grow with you. They're there to share tips, tricks, and all that other stuff. So definitely have some kind of support group. The next thing is reflect on your values. When you grow up in a dysfunctional family, as I mentioned in the beginning, sometimes you don't know even what you like or what you value. So I always tell people the best way to reflect on your values is to write down one of the happiest moments of your life. And then think about the people that were there, the people, and think about what values they had. Did they have fun and spontaneity and compassion and love and honesty and integrity and friendship and camaraderie, whatever it is? What are the values that whole situation encompassed? Was it freedom? Was it, financial security? Whatever it is, those become your values. Those are the things that you want to reflect on. And those are the things that you want to draw more of into your life. Then think about a bad time in your life. Think about a bad situation, or think about a time when you were with people that you didn't like. What kind of values did those people have? Were they mean? Were they hostile? Were they manipulative? Were they angry? Were they jealous? Like those are the values and those are the characteristics that you don't want to be around. Because until you know what you like and what you don't like, your brain is going to naturally be attracted to what is familiar. And unfortunately, if you've grown up in a dysfunctional household, sometimes it's the toxic behaviors and it's the toxic values that are more familiar to you. And so you're drawn to them naturally. But once you know your values, good values, and the values that you don't like, you can start to make decisions to steer yourself towards situations and be in situations where those values are present. And the very last one is embrace self-care and self-discovery. And I cannot say that enough. You need to learn to take care of yourself. You need to value yourself as a person. You need to know what you like, what you don't like, who you want to hang out with, who you don't want to hang out with, where you like to vacation, where you don't like to vacation. Do you like pets? Do you want children? What do you like to do? Who are you? Who are you at the core when all of the other stuff is taken away? When all of the bad memories, when all of this is gone, who are you? That is what we're trying to figure out. And that is what we're striving to get closer to every day. So if things don't align with who you are, if something feels wrong in your gut or something, you get a tension in your body when you go to do something or say something, it might not be who you are. It might not be in alignment with who you truly, truly are inside. Because I promise you, my friend, you were born magnificent. We all were. You were born happy and joyous and you wanted to explore and you wanted to learn and you wanted to live life to its fullest. And then life happened. So you got to let go of all of that and you got to get back to who you truly are deep down inside. And I promise you, if you want to come with me and walk that walk, we will walk that walk together and we will figure out who you truly are because I know you are magnificent. Now you just need to know you're magnificent and you need to start walking the walk of that amazing, beautiful, magnificent person you are. Oh my goodness. I know I said a lot, but I think it's important. I think it's important that when the rubber hits the road and we have to make a decision, that we make it from who we are, what we desire, what we like, what we want, what we believe in, instead of what we've been told. So let's work on it every single day together or with someone else or by yourself. And let's start stepping one step forward at a time. Thank you, my friends, and I will see you back soon. Bye.